50 blades of grass, getting all the dirt. A question recently came up from our members as to why the greenside bunker on hole number 15 is so different from most of the other bunkers. Before I answer this question, let's start off by looking at the sand that are used in bunkers typically. The golf industry found that the best performing bunker sands contains mostly sand particles that range in size from 0.25 millimeters to 1 millimeter. For those that didn't take the course in metrics, it is 0.01 inches to 0.04 inches, pretty small, and they have an angular shape. At Round Hill, we use G8 sand, which is the angular sand particles. When you look at the two angular categories on the left-hand side of the visual, you see how uneven the particles are. This angular edge helps reduce sand packing, improves drainage, and allows the club head to move freely through the sand. So you have a good knowledge of the sand foundation, but, and I say but, you also have to make the shot to successfully get out of the bunker. So now the question is, what makes a great bunker sand? That's a complex question. The U.S. Golf Association considers 8 factors when selecting bunker sand: particle size, particle shape, crusting potential, chemical reaction and hardness, infiltration, color, penetrometer value, and playability. Blah, 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 technical talk. There seems to be one common denominator of a great bunker sand, and it might be the biggest factor: the fried egg test. Oops, not this one. Here we go. Here is the fried egg shot in the bunker. How do we prevent a deep fried egg? We test the sand by measuring it with a penetrometer. Here I go again, getting technical. I promise I'll be brief. Getting back to the testing, in a technical testing terminology, which measure the energy required to bury the ball in the sand. This value shows the ability of the sand to resist the golf ball from being buried. The two big factors that are affecting the penetrometer value are the particle size and shape of the sand. And of course, you remember what I said earlier. I'm sure you did. The maintenance staff uses the penetrometer simply to give them a guideline. They press it in the sand and they come up with a reading. It reads the strength in tons per square foot, blah, blah, blah. But in reality, the column on the right is most important and gives our staff the input as to the nature of the sand. They now have the information to modify the composition of the sand to make it more playable. Now that you are all experts in bunker sand selection, let's go back to the question of why our sand in bunker number 15 is different. And for those that didn't notice it, including me, the right greenside bunker on hole number 4 also has that sand. First, let's look at the two different sands to see the difference of the coarseness. In all bunkers on the course, except for number 4 and number 15 on the right side, you can see from the photo, the sand is very small. Here is the bunker sand that we use throughout the course. As you can see, it is a very small particle size. Now, here is the sand in bunker 15, that right side. It's a much larger particle, as you can see. Now, when we compare the two types, you can notice the big difference in particle size. So how did this come about? Well, actually, the G8 bunker sand is a mined material. So from time to time, it comes out of the ground with different characteristics, like angularity, the shape and size of the sand, or its color. When we redid bunker 15 many years ago, we ordered some sand and it came out as it is today with larger granules. When we reordered that sand for other, found it was different again. So we abandoned that approach in supplier and tried to get a more consistent sand. So hopefully that answers the question why there are differences. And there is no plan to change out the bunker to make them like 15 or to change 15 out to make them like the majority of the others. From time to time, the question comes up, is it a bunker or is it a trap? The word bunker first appeared in relation to the sport in 1812 when the Royal and Ancient Rules of Golf came out. It was thought to come from the Scots word banker, which is a form of a seat or bench. Where did the golf bunker come from? The earliest golf courses were established on links land where the sand blew across the course from the natural beaches that hug the coast. Scottish golf history describes the earliest sand bunkers as incontestably Scottish and suggests that the use of sand as a hazard on the golf course may have been inspired by the quarry pits that proliferated on many of the links in the areas like Aberdeen and Golan. So what is the difference between a sand trap and a bunker? The term sand trap is almost the most disputed term in golf, according to Golf Digest. But there is a difference between a sand trap and a bunker. Well, in common parlance, players often refer to sand traps and bunkers as if they were the same thing. And there's nothing really wrong about that. But if you look at the official rules of golf, there is not a single mention of the term sand trap, while a sand bunker is, of course, introduced. This suggests that the official term of the hazard is a sand bunker, but you may commonly hear players while they're out on the course with their buddies. Well, let's take a look at some unusual bunkers around the world. The biggest bunker, according to the Guinness World Record, is located at Hell's Half Acres on the 7th hole of Pine Valley course in Claremont, New Jersey. The hazard starts from 260 yards from the tee and extends 150 yards to the next fairway. Now, the deepest bunker in championship golf can be found and is often best avoided at the British Open course of the Royal St. George in England. Dominating the right side of the fourth fairway, it sits a distance of 230 yards from the tee. It stands an incredible 40 feet deep and 25 feet wide, and it has wrecked many a scorecard over the years. When it comes to sheer volume of bunkers, no course can rival the Whistler Straits in Wisconsin. The course is the home of the spine-tingling 967 sand bunkers of various sizes and lengths and depths. The 18th hole has 96 bunkers, and some of which, considering that the first courses originated in the coastal Scotland area, it is a safe bet that sand bunkers first appeared on those linked courses and spread to courses around the world is yet another aspect of the game that is attributed to the Scots. Well, that does it for now. See you on the next podcast. Now, don't forget to send me those questions. That makes this podcast go. So remember, send them to this email address right up here. Thanks again for your help. Or you can add your questions below in the comment field. And don't forget to give me some likes.